Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be going over a little GUI concept for Apex Legends. This is basically for all the different abilities in the game, the tacticals and ultimates. There are some passives that I've done instead of like a tactical ultimate because they're more relevant. But yeah, we're going to go over every single one of these. And basically the whole context around this is just to basically make it so that you know what your teammate is doing at the time rather than just listening to a voice line. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video. So to start with, we have Bloodhound. Now a very simple one right here. You just see that the eyes right there are red. This is for the Eye of the All-Father tactical, and it applies it to himself. To basically, these different things can either apply them to themselves, or if it is a team ability, it'll apply it to everyone who uses that thing. So yeah, so this is another one right here. This is the ultimate, so a little bit more red, as you see on the eyes, and it's the Beast of the Hunt ultimate, so it applies it to himself as well. Now, obviously, as I've said before, some of these abilities will apply to all people in the team, but it just depends on the ability, so I'll get to that when I get to that. So, Gibraltar, Dome Protection. You can see there's like a bit of a hexagon pattern on the background. Nothing really else really changed, but it's got a bit of a hexagon pattern because of the Dome Protection. It obviously is a bit orange and hexagon patterned, and it applies to everyone who is inside of the dome. Whoever's inside the dome essentially has this GUI to essentially enable them to know that they're getting protected. And then we'll have the defensive bombardment one. You can see there's two bombs right above Gibraltar, and it only applies to him. Essentially, when he calls an airstrike, you see that little thing there, and you know, okay, right, I know that Gibraltar called an airstrike. Just once again, little GUI stuff. So then we've got Lifeline. You can see the little plus stuff right there. That's what it looks like, and it applies to all people. So this is the Doc Heal Drone. For everyone who's essentially getting healed by the Doc Heal Drone, it will have the little plus symbols by their character, essentially telling you that you're getting healed by the Doc Drone. Just a little another. All these are just very nice things to have. And then the care package as well. When the care package is getting called down, sometimes your teammate might not know if that's your care package or not. So if it has a little icon there, obviously you'll know that Lifeline's called on a care pack, and it applies to just Lifeline. That little symbol. And then we have Pathfinder, the grappling hook. So obviously Pathfinder does say like you know, swinging on a grappling hook and all that other stuff like in his voice lines, but it's nice to have a little indicator right there as well, so it does apply to himself, that little icon that pops up. And yeah, a little grappling hook. Okay, so now for his zipline. So his zipline gun, his ultimate, it applies to everyone. So you can see in the top left hand corner there's a little like yellow line that is simply to signify the zipline. So everyone who is using a zipline will have that little icon right there, and it has to be a Pathfinder zipline, not like any zipline in the game. It has to be a Pathfinder zipline so that you know that people are using it. And then we'll have Into the Void, Wraith. So essentially when you are in phase, Wraith will put them little eyes. You see the blue eyes, she'll have blue eyes, and this only applies to her because she's the only one that's going in the void. So she'll get them blue eyes, and it just signifies that you're in the void. And then we'll have Dimensional Rift. You see that there's a portal behind Wraith. Essentially, this applies to all players who goes inside of a portal. So all players that go in a portal will have a portal on their character behind them. So just a little another signifier right there that they are using a portal. Then we'll have Bangalore, so smoke launcher. You can see the smoke is completely covering Bangalore right there. That only activates when you are inside of smoke. So you can shoot the smoke and it won't activate, but when you're inside of the smoke, it'll have that little effect on it. It applies to all people who are inside the smoke, so it'll just blur out the character a little bit. Then we'll have the Rolling Thunder. So you can see there's some explosions all over there. This effect happens when the explosions are actually going off. And it just signifies that you shouldn't. I mean, it's kind of safe for your teammates, but you still will get stunned. So it applies to Bangalore only. And then we'll have Caustic. So similar to Bangalore, we have Nox Vision. Well, actually, this isn't similar to Bangalore. The next one is. But Nox Vision, you can see Caustic's a little bit more green. This only happens when you are inside of enemy gas. When you're inside of enemy gas, you'll get this little effect, and it applies just to yourself as Caustic. And then similar to Bangalore's one, the Nox Gas Trap or Gas Grenade applies to everyone in your team So this is friendly gas and friendly, well, gas grenades and stuff. This is friendly ones, so friendly caustic one. Everyone on the team will have this effect on their characters, the little gas effect. Then we have Mirage. Now you see me applies to self. Essentially, he just goes more translucent and more bluish, just to signify that he's essentially cloaking in different areas. So whether it be respawn beacons or reviving teammates or whatever, just to signify that you are invisible. You know, even though there are already is signifiers in the game, there's just another little thing. Life of the party applies to self as well when you're using your ultimate. It'll be nice to know exactly when, you know, your decoys are gone. So it's nice to have a little thing there in the bottom left to like tell you when you're back to normal. So just another little thing right there. And it applies to yourself. Stim applies to yourself as well. You can see Octane has 3 versions of himself, essentially signifying speed, running fast. And yeah, that's basically it for this one. Just pretty much just for the duration of your stim, you are just going to have that little indicator right there. And then for the the launch pad, it applies to all members of the team that use it. You get 2 little airways on the little screen there, very similar to Horizon's gravity lift that we're going to go over soon. But you get 2 little indicators there, they're basically saying that yes, you're in midair using a launch pad. Alright, so this is a very simple one. This is literally just Watson's fence. It just has a fence there and it's blue. And it only applies to Watson. So perimeter security, her tactical, when she's putting down fences, you see a little icon. Even though she already has voice lines for it, it's nice to just have a little visual indicator as well. And then we'll have the ultimate as well. This applies to all members of the team that are inside the radius of the ultimate. You will get this little spark effect on your little character. And yeah, it's just basically signifying that your shield is going to be recharged in that area and you'll be protected from grenades. So it's just a little nice little indicator as well. And it gets a bit of a radius for the stuff as well. And then obviously Crypto already has his tactical indicator. When he pulls out his tactical, you can see that it has a little drone. So I wanted to make an EMP to go with that. When you are EMP in a team, it'll have a little charge up thing right next to his character. Or if you're in the drone mode, it'll be the exact same. So this only applies to him. And similar with Revenant, with his death totem, you have a little bit of an indicator with all members of the team using the death totem. It goes more shadowy, you know what I mean? So how about we make a similar thing for the silence ability as well? So he has a little red orb right next to him to show that he's silencing someone. And this applies to himself. Then we have Luba. So Burglar's best friend applies to the self. So you can see the little wisps right there. Normally if you play Luba, you'll see that right before you're going to teleport, you have like the wisps on the side. So it just kind of signifies that you're about to teleport or you are in the process of teleporting. And it only applies to yourself. Then we'll have Black Market Boutique. So this applies to all members of the team that are currently using the Black Market. It just shows a little icon right at the bottom, right next to the character. Just signifying that you are currently using the Black Market. And then we have Rampart. So Rampart, of course, puts down quite a lot of walls with the covers. Sorry, and I was want to like do like something like where if you shoot through a wall or something. But I think it's more useful if it's just when you're placing walls. You know what I mean? Or when you're hiding behind a wall or something. It basically just shows up a little amped wall icon, and it only appears for Rampart. Similarly, we have the minigun Sheila. This applies to all members of the team because some members can actually go onto the emplaced minigun when it's in like on a building or something. The teammates can actually go onto that, so it will actually show up the little minigun for them as well if they are on that. So that's how that'll work. And similarly to Octane's jump pad that I mentioned before, Horizon's gravity lift has the 2 little icons there. So little swirly icons, essentially signifying you're going up on a gravity lift. And it applies to all members of the team who are going up on a gravity lift. Similar to Octane's jump pad. And then we'll have Horizon's black hole. So this only applies to yourself. It essentially means that you've thrown a black hole on an enemy or whatever. You've basically just chucked out your black hole. And it just signifies that you've done something. And yeah, that's basically all that does right there. Only happens to yourself. And now I have Fuse's Knuckle Cluster. So this only happens to himself. It basically signifies that Fuse is through a Knuckle Cluster. You can see all the different explosions right next to his character. And yeah, obviously, it only applies to himself because, you know, it wouldn't make sense if it applies to other people because it's only him that's throwing them. And then we'll have similar to the cluster grenades, the Motherload as well. It also has a little indicator right there with the fire to show that Fuse uses Motherload. And yeah, it just shows that he's used it. And it only applies to himself, once again. And then similarly, once again, we have Valkyrie with the Missile Swarm, only applying to herself. With obviously the missiles right there signifying that she has used her missile swarm on an enemy. So just once again, all these different things, just little indicators other than just voice lines and stuff, just in case like a new player might not know what that is, might bring a little bit more solidity to that. And then a skyward dive applies to all members of the team, so everyone who partakes in the skyward dive with Valkyrie will have that little icon right next to their character when they are flying up and flying out as well. So just a little indicator right there. And then we have Seer, focus of attention applies to self. So when you are scanning someone with Seer, it'll just show like some beaming little eyes right there. Just to show that you are scanning someone or you have scanned someone, whatever applies better. And yeah, only applies to himself. And then we have Exhibit, applies to all members of the team that are within the exhibit area. So the little orb that he kind of creates with his little drone thing. So you just have like loads of lines and stuff over the characters. And yeah, it's just showing that you are inside the area and you are possibly even scanning people as well. So yeah, as you see right there, that's all of the different character stuff. And I want to know what you guys think. Is this a bit too complicated if this was actually embedded into the game? Would it be pretty nice to have? Like, would it be nice to like see like what your teammates are doing rather than just listening to voice lines? Because I feel like a lot of the time, even like just the announcer voice lines, that where they say like round 2 incoming and stuff like that and all that, like I feel like I don't really listen to them a lot of the time. And if it was something visual, I would be like, oh, okay, that guy's doing that. So it would be nice to have things like this, especially how we already do for Crypto's drone and Revenant's totem. It would be nice if it was more universal and it was applied to most abilities in the game. And yeah, I didn't do it to a lot of the passives because I feel like it would be annoying, if anything, to like do that. But obviously, if you guys want to do that, if it would apply, then fair enough. You guys can do a part 2 to this. But yeah, this took about, this took around about like 4 hours to like do like all these different things. Well, actually, maybe not. Maybe like 3 hours. But it would be a lot of appreciation if you guys could like the video or something like that. Because yeah, I honestly really like these kind of GUI kind of upgrades and concepts and stuff. So I'm going to keep on doing it the more like you guys want them. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.